So the last fly we tied on here was from Gary LaFontaine's Caddis Flies. And when talking about that book, I mentioned a book that Gary had talked about by Larry Solomon and Eric Leiser called The Caddis and the Angler. And being the book nerd that I am, I found a copy of this 1977 book. I had to order it. It came in today. And wow, what another great book on the caddis. While this one isn't as long or as in-depth as Caddis Flies, it's still a great book. And this one, it's a lot cheaper. You can find used copies of it today on Amazon for about $5. Now, I've only spent about an hour looking through this book so far, but let me tell you, if you are a trout fly fisherman, I can wholeheartedly recommend this thing. Now, it is a 1970s book, and the tying instructions aren't what you're used to seeing today. The pictures aren't that high resolution, and they're black and white, but you can definitely tie out of this book. But not only is it a good how-to book, it's a really good book on entomology, and there are a few chapters on how to rig up and fish these type patterns. Now, the first pattern I'm going to tie from this book, it's called the Gill Ribbed Larva. Now, they don't go into the history of how this fly came about. It's just another one of these patterns that's named pretty much what it is. And I've never fished this thing, so I'm thinking I probably need a row of these in my box. And it is a simple pattern. 2 materials if you don't count the rib. You've got some green floss and then some Peacock herl. And it's also a quick tie. You can do about a dozen of these in an hour. But according to Solomon and Leiser, fish this thing as a bottom fly on a 2 or 3 nymph rig, get it close to or let it tick across the bottom, and this thing can be deadly. And I hope so, because I'm looking forward to giving it a try. So there it is. Pretty simple gill ribbed larva. This one tied with a caddis green. I'm tying this on a size 12. This is a barbless curved shank hook. You could use a scud hook or a clink hammer. And it does call for black thread, so I'm going to catch this on and take it well around the bend of the hook. Now we're going to go farther back than that, but this is about where I'm going to catch in this first component, which is a small wire. And I'm going to use silver, but gold would be fine. I'm sure any color you want would be fine right here. So let's catch this in, pull it back just a little, a few turns going back. Now back up here to catch in the rib. And the rib is just a single strand of peacock herl. Take one with some long herls on it if you can. We'll catch this in up here. A few wraps. As soon as we got it secured, we can break that off. And now is where we want to wrap the thread all the way back to where we want to start our body. So just kind of go back and then take a look at it. Is that going to be far enough? And we could go even a little farther back than that. Now let's take our thread up here and catch in our body. And for the body, I've got a Danville 4-strand rayon with in a caddis green with each strand is 300 denier. So really I'm putting about 1200 denier worth of floss on this body. So it's some pretty thick stuff. Let's pull that back. That should work right there. I'm going to catch it in back here to the, where I'm going to start wrapping it. Now go ahead and park your thread a couple eye lengths back. And what I'm going to do here, you might have to lick your fingers a little bit and kind of spin them together to keep them from splitting up on you. I'm going to wrap all the way up and then probably back down halfway and then back up again, just to try to get, a taper, really a pupa body type fly here. So I'll speed this up so you don't have to watch this next minute in real time. Okay, that's not perfect, but I think it's fat enough in the middle, so let's go ahead and catch this off. Now let's wrap this rib, just peacock herl, and be careful if you nick the, catch it on the point of your hook and break it, you kind of have to start over. Or, I suppose you could catch it in the front and take it back, but either way it would just make the fly harder to tie. So go ahead and about 4 or 5 wraps on this size of a hook I've got here. And now let's counter wrap this rib. And really this is just for securing this herl. So again, 4 or 5 wraps, probably going to be fine here. Now the last component we're going to catch in is going to be the head or thorax, and I'm going to use 2 strands of peacock herl this time. You could probably use 3 if you want to do it quicker. I think 2 is going to be just fine. And this is really the head. If you can get it to be, say, a little bit thicker than your body, that's probably a good look, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be. It's really just you want kind of a dark area up here. So I might spin these together a little bit and just several wraps kind of on top of each other, kind of, let it spread out just a little bit, and we're gonna catch it in right behind the eye. You don't want to get too close to the eye. Nothing more frustrating than not being able to get your tippet through your eye when you're on the river. I think we're going to be fine right there. Now put it back, make some room for your head. If you want to use head cement, yeah, knock yourself out. I don't. What I typically do on a fly like this is just do 2 3-turn whip finishes, and it will hold up pretty well. So there we go, no cleanup on a pattern like this, gill ribbed larva in caddis green. And from what I hear, these can be super effective patterns. So I appreciate you watching, everybody. Y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.